Hi guys, in today's discussion of the book India That Is Bharat by Sai Deepak, we start the 5th chapter and it's called Decoloniality, Indigeneity, Subjectivity and Relationality. And for anyone wondering, because I also heard this word for the first time in this book and in this very chapter, it's called Relationality, and it means the relationship between two things or two people. Whether it's between the people and anything, or between two people or between two things, that doesn't matter. It's all this word asks is that you consider that thing and think of that phenomenon not in a silo-based approach, not in a compartmentalized approach. Think of it as connected with everything else. In the first chapter, I had undertaken a brief and broad discussion on 4 schools of thought, namely the modernist school, which puts stock in Eurocentric universalism and believes in its continued relevance; the postmodern school, which rejects this universalist claim predominantly in the realm of culture; the post-colonial school, which is in the neighborhood of the postmodern school and critiques colonialism and its Eurocentrism primarily in the political realm, albeit without deconstructing its fundamentals; and the decolonial school, which goes beyond the post-colonial school by identifying the existence of European coloniality even after decolonization, dissects its ontology, epistemology, theological foundations, and seeks to unshackle indigeneity from the universal fictions of coloniality. For the purposes of the discussion here, I have consciously limited the scope primarily to understanding the areas of intersection and exclusion between the post-colonial and decolonial schools, as the former already has a strong base in Bharat and the latter is yet to be fully tapped into as an alternative. To this end, I am interested in bringing out the inherent limitations of post-colonialism and its offspring, subaltern studies, in addressing the OET framework underlying the colonial legacy. And as we have discussed in previous videos, OET means ontology, epistemology, theology. I am interested in bringing out the inherent limitations of post-colonialism and its offspring, subaltern studies, in addressing the OET framework underlying the colonial legacy, apart from failing to empower the indigenous voice. Yes, that is a nice line, because post-colonialism has totally failed to empower the indigenous voice. In fact, from what I have read, post-colonialism has reinforced colonial stereotypes of the indigenous worldview, which is precisely why the viability of decoloniality as an alternative must be seriously considered. While in the second section of the book, I will attempt to make a Bharat-specific case for the application of decoloniality, in this chapter, I will generally lay out the reasons for taking this position.